After a successful preseason debut, Drew Allar must show consistency in week 2 to prove to the Pittsburgh Steelers he's worth betting on as their long-term starter.
You are Locked On NFL Draft, your daily podcast covering the NFL Draft. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome back to the Locked On NFL Draft Podcast. I'm Damian Parson. That's Keith Sanchez. And today's episode is brought to you by Kalshi. For a limited time, download the Kalshi app and use the code Locked On to get $10 when you trade 10. And today's episode is all about week 2 of the NFL preseason and those rookie previews, the rookies that you need to be watching to see how they perform. Do they stack performances, Keith? And I want to kick it off. I'm going to kick it to you. I want to start off with Drew Allar. Right, the Pittsburgh Steelers need a QB of the future. They drafted Will Howard with Mike Tomlin in his final year as the head coach there. In comes Mike McCarthy and his coaching staff. And in the third round, they take Drew Allar, where a lot of people were kind of shocked by the pick. They're like, oh, 4th, 5th round, we probably see Drew coming off the injury and just a subpar season at Penn State. But he had a really good rookie debut last week in week 1 of the preseason. What are you looking forward to seeing from Drew Allar in week 2 for the Pittsburgh Steelers?
Yeah, I mean, if you're a Pittsburgh Steelers fan or, part of the franchise, you're hoping for some type of consistency, right? In the sense of the fact of that, not exactly a repeat performance from a statistical standpoint, but maybe a repeat performance from a process standpoint, right? That he looks pretty good out there. He looks confident. He looks in control. He looked poised, right? All of the different cliche terms that we look for in NFL starting quarterbacks, and look for him to maybe take a few chances that he's looking that comfortable out there that he's willing to risk it a little bit. And I think about the Pittsburgh Steelers overall, we know time and time again, right, over the past, 5-ish years, right, since Ben Roethlisberger has retired, we've said, look, the Pittsburgh, not us, but the consensus has been, hey, the Pittsburgh Steelers need to go ahead and just stink up the joint, right? They need a suck a little bit, right? Yeah, just go ahead and tank, because they're always picking in picks between 17 and 28, somewhere in between there, right? Which is out of range for getting the quote unquote, surefire franchise quarterback. I've always been against that notion, DP. I don't play any sport with the notion of saying, hey, I'm A-okay with losing, right? That's just something I won't sign up for. I'm sorry. Like, it's in my DNA, and I'll tell you this, it's not in the Pittsburgh DNA, right? You're talking about that black and blue division. You're talking about the prideful, hard-hat, blue-collar work ethic of the Pittsburgh Steelers, the legendary franchise. I don't think that they're signing up for that, right? And they're one of those franchises where they let the Dallas Cowboys, they let the Pittsburgh Steelers, they let the Philadelphia Eagles, right? Certain teams like that within the division run with all the headline stuff, right? Like, go with all the drama. Y'all take that side of it. We want to remain committed to the process, right? Just putting our head down and grinding. And so if they're able to stumble across Drew Allar in the 3rd round and he's able to turn into a franchise quarterback, you're talking jackpot. So I want to see what Drew Allar looks like from the perspective of the model of consistency and going out there and playing good football again.
I wholeheartedly agree with you, Keith. And it's something that we talk about that you've mentioned multiple times on this pod. Is like, look at the trends in the NFL. And over the last couple drafts, right, going back to the Drake Mays draft, right, the Caleb Williams draft, like I don't think either one of us had a top 15 grade on like a Bo Nix. I think I had like a day 2 grade. It was like second.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I had a 2nd round grade on him. Yep,
it was somewhere in that range. But I felt like he could be a starter in the right situation. Well, Sean Payton drafts him top 15, and some people were kind of mystified by that, right? Then you go back to last year's draft, Tyler Shuck being the 40th pick in the draft, Kellen Moore taking him, and now we get a year later, we get Mike McCarthy taking with the top 100 pick, Drew Allar. And I'm learning right now, Keith, over these last couple of drafts, because we saw how good Tyler Shuck look with Kellen Moore. We've seen the success over 2 years of a Bo Nix with Sean Payton. If these offensive-minded head coaches, if they pick a quarterback, I'm leaning to that. I'm going to lean on that, because it's starting to prove like these are the guys. Like, it's not like Dave Canales and Bryce Young. They weren't like married together. They didn't he came in after Bryce was drafted, but they're making it work, right? It's not one of those situations. It's I drafted the guy I wanted, and if that offensive minded coach is the head coach, I'm leaning on that. And I think with Drew, like you said, it's the process. You may not throw for 200 yards, but if the process looks good, that's what I care about. Because Keith, I think you've been saying it for a long time, and I've adopted to it as well. The result could be what the result is, but if the process was bad, I can't get with that. I cannot get with that. Like, okay, yeah, you threw a 60-yard bomb, but your footwork was off. You missed the easy read. You just threw it in the double coverage, but it worked. Like, you can't do that every snap.
Not consistently. Yep.
Not consistently. So I want to see Drew mechanically. Because again, even last week he handled pressure well, and that's why I wonder. Like, truthfully, like he has a strong preseason, and now you go into the 2027 NFL draft. Over at Bleacher Report, we dropped the mock draft, and listen, it was a collaborative effort. I was a part of the conversation, but the Steelers ended up taking Drew Mestemaker, quarterback at Oklahoma State, right? Okay. And So that wasn't my pick. I just want people to understand it. That was not my decision. But it's a situation of, well, how about they go BPA? Because I feel like if Will Howard and Drew Allar look good to where you can enter next year with them in a true competition for QB1, I'd rather do that than reach for, especially where they're probably drafting. I do not believe Aaron Rodgers is going out like with a 4-13 record. Like, they're not going to be bad. This is too good of a football team. And now they have an offensive-minded head coach who knows how to dial things up, has that chemistry with the QB. I still think they have a really strong chance to make the playoffs, which means you will not be in the top 10 to be drafting the quarterback. Again, that's not going to happen. So I think Drew Allar could end up being the guy, and it starts with this preseason.
Yeah, no, 100%. And it's definitely something to take note to, because like I said, they could set up the Pittsburgh Steelers for the future. DP, I want to talk about the opposing quarterback. I believe in this matchup, the Pittsburgh Steelers are playing the New York Jets. Somebody who quietly had a decent first showing, Cade Klubnik. I believe he went 5 for 7 for 51 yards. Don't quote me on that statistically. I think that's exactly what it was. But listen, this is a young man we consistently talked about. And when we went through the potential for guys to play early, he was a highlight guy. We said Carson Beck, right, over there in Arizona, because he's backing up Jacoby Brissett. And we also said Cade Klubnik, Geno Smith's on his last leg. Last time we seen Geno Smith as a Jet, it wasn't good. If I was Geno Smith, I wouldn't have went back to the Jets. I would have backed up somewhere else. I can tell you one place I would have never went back to. That's the New York Jets. But listen, I understand it, right? Go get your money, do what you have to do, play football. You still love the game. But that does not remove the fact that Aaron Glenn is returning for a second year, disastrous first year. He's looking for some type of spark to hold on to. The fans are looking for some type of spark, because the New York Jets fans remember the Geno Smith experience the first go around, right? And the on the field and off the field situations, scuffles and practices and everything else, right? Yeah, so all of those things are still there and still present. So I think Cade Klubnik is going to be a name that the Jets fans are going to be clamoring for. And if he plays well in this preseason game, best believe the momentum is going to get turning, right? And the old cliche phrase of the most popular person on the football team is the backup quarterback. I feel like it doesn't ring more truer than with the New York Jets, right? A franchise that hasn't had a really good quarterback in a very long time. They're always wondering who the backup is. They're wondering who the backup is, the third string, right? Who's on the practice squad, who's on the waiver wire. They're trying to figure it out. So Cade Klubnik could be, primed to have a good situation, and this could catapult him forward into some really heavy discussions.
No, we talked about this after, coming into the summer. Like, man, you're right. Like this, he could end up playing as a rookie. And I watched that game live, and he looked. It's crazy, Keith, because I remember watching him at Clemson last year. I didn't see a confident quarterback. He looked more confident in this situation. And I'll say this: I think I may have used Bo Nix as a comp for him. It's like, hey, like you get him with the right OC that really, because one of the things that Sean Payton does for Bo Nix is he just lets Bo Nix. He makes it easy, and he lets Bo be Bo. Bo is a playmaking, improvisational quarterback who's got a good arm and good athleticism. He's not a guy that's afraid of the pocket breaking down. Now, they have an elite pass protecting, offensive line. They're really good about giving them clean pockets. But even if things break down, and he's got that, I don't know if it's a squirrel, I can't remember what animal has like the short memory. He's got Bo Nix has thrown an interception and came right back out and led them down the field. He does not care. So it's just like, I want to see that same type of mentality from Cade, but it takes an OC or an offensive minded coach to kind of really tell, hey, we're going to live and die with what you do out here. And I want to see him get more extended run, because I think he started the game. He had a couple of drives and they pulled him off and brought in some backups. No, let Cade give Cade a half. Like give Cade a half, because I think if you give him a half, we could see him really be able to go from not just 2 or 3 drives, but you get a whole quarter and another whole quarter to see how he handles the ebbs and flows of being an NFL quarterback.
Yep, I agree 100% with DP. Let's do this, man. Let's keep this conversation going and flowing, man. We're into preseason football. I can taste the regular season right around the corner, DP. So we have to continue to highlight these rookies, right, who are making premieres. Some of them making second starts, right, in NFL preseason. Let's discuss which players we are looking forward to this upcoming weekend. Let's discuss that coming up next.
There are certain flavors that instantly feel like summer. And for a lot of people, those classic red, white, and blue freezer pops are right at the top of the list. Sweet cherry, lime, blue raspberry. It's one of those nostalgic summer flavors everybody recognizes. And now 5 Hour Energy is bringing that flavor combination into the new Firework Freeze 5 Hour Energy shot, blending sweet cherry, zesty lime, and electric blue raspberry into one refreshing shot inspired by those iconic summer freeze pops. Summer schedules get chaotic fast. Road trips, tournaments, concerts, long weekends. So having something quick that you can just grab on the way out of the door makes a huge difference. So ignite your taste buds with the flavor of summer. Ignite your taste buds with the flavor of summer. Get a Firework Freeze 5 Hour Energy shot today. For more information, visit 5hourenergy.com. I'm going to go to Caleb Downs, who played a little bit in week 1 of the preseason. I've been seeing a lot of the joint practice besides all the fights with the Saints. I think this is, we talked about Caleb Downs. He was our number 1 player on our big board this past draft cycle. The Dallas Cowboys, and shout out, listen, I've given Jerry Jones a lot of flack. All right. And it's very warranted, by the way. He earned it.
Oh, did he?
Like he's earned a lot of it, but I got to give him some love. You draft Donovan Ezoroku last year, right? Of course, you let go of Michael Parsons. You get the trade going, and you get Quinnen Williams. You got Rashawn Gary,
the D tackle. You get
Kenny Clark. Now you sign Von Miller. You draft Malachi Lawrence in the first round. You know what I mean? You got Caleb Downs. This defense could look vastly different, especially if they stop the run, put you in some 3rd and longs. And I seen Caleb Downs in the nickel. He could be that chess piece for them in that secondary, Keith. I'm looking forward if they give him more snaps. I believe per PFF against the Seahawks, Caleb Downs only played, I believe it was just 7 snaps in the game. Yeah, 7 total defensive snaps. I want to see more of that. I want to see a little bit more, right? Give me maybe 20, 25. You know what I mean? Nothing crazy. Just give me a little bit more, because I want to see how to utilize this young man, because he is a versatile player who can play on the roof. He does a lot of stuff. At Ohio State with Matt Patricia's defense, he's such an intellectually elevated player in terms of the mental game, the processing, and the IQ. Like, I want to see how they utilize it. Is he going to play predominantly nickel? We've seen him match up with Chris Olave a lot in these joint practices the past couple of days. I want to see how they utilize Caleb Downs in week 2. I want to see how much he plays and how much they use him.
Yeah, no, I definitely it'll be something interesting to pay attention to. And when he played in the game, he played some nickel, right? Which I wasn't completely sure was a part of his bag, but he looked decent in reps, because I don't know for you, DP, but my biggest question mark for him was the ability to just flat out play man-to-man, right? Just line up man-to-man and be sticky in coverage, jump into a hip pocket and stay with him, right? And he did a pretty solid job, but at least taking away the initial, right? Taking away, because we always talk about with slot wide receivers having a 2-way option. He did pretty good at that, showed good patience, good footwork, good balance, things of that nature. So we'll be looking at him for that. DP, real quick, just with the Dallas Cowboys and Jerry Jones. Yes, And I don't want to hear anymore that he doesn't read the press clippings or I don't pay attention to those things, because you definitely are. And the reason why you're motivated is because everybody said you lost. You lost to Michael Parsons trade, so now you're motivated. But guess what? Dallas Cowboys fans, you got a motivated Jerry Jones. So hopefully that finally turns into something good.
Supposedly the head coach, Shadi said that they're not done making moves, right? Like they're not done making roster. Listen, all I know is pay George Pickens. You got him, CD Lamb. I'm gonna talk about another receiver that might be making a case to make this roster after what he did in week 1 in the next segment and everything. But if the defense does their job and the defense plays better than they have over the last couple of years, this is an offense that can absolutely carry them to the Super Bowl. I'm just putting that out there, guys. This is an offense that can carry you, and not only carry you, but win a Super Bowl with the talent they have offensively.
100%. DP, well, let's not wait, man. Let's jump into this wide receiver that you're trying to discuss for the Dallas Cowboys. I got a feeling DP's going to get into his bag and potentially bring up a sleeper. So y'all stay tuned. Coming up next, we're talking more prospects. We're talking more first time in preseason football, second time, trying to get that roster spot. We're going to discuss those players coming up next.
Before the season even kicks off, everyone's making predictions. Who wins the division? Who makes the playoffs? Who's lifting the trophy at season's end? On Kalshi, America's #1 prediction market platform, you can trade those predictions in a live market. Will the Seattle Seahawks repeat and win the NFC Championship again this season? Well, the Seahawks are currently trading at a 13% probability, meaning a $100 trade will give you a payout of $725.07 if they took home the title. On Kalshi, you're trading against peers in a live market, meaning there's no house. And as the probability changes, you can buy in and out of your position. Download the Kalshi app and use the code LOCKEDON to get $10 when you trade $10. KALSHI, Kalshi. Trade on anything 18 plus or older. Restrictions and eligibility requirements apply. Event contract trading involves risk and may not be suitable for all investors. Kalshi products are not available in all jurisdictions. Prices, values, and available markets may differ from those mentioned. For more information, see kalshi.com/regulatory. Thank you for making Locked On NFL Draft your first listen of the day, and thank you for making the Locked On Podcast Network the #1 sports podcast network in America. It's all because of you, our everydayers. We just finished talking about Dallas. We got to bring up one more player, man. Camden Brown, 6'2", 200-pound wide receiver. And this is a young man. They got him. He's an undrafted free agent out of Georgia Southern. And last week against Seattle, he was 3 of 3. 62 yards, and 2 of the 3 catches went for touchdowns and everything. And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, I think I've seen some stuff about him potentially being like he was fielding punts, if I'm not mistaken, as well. So they're trying to get him on special teams. And yeah, I like what I saw from this young man. I like what I saw from, and for them, Keith, to have Pickens and CD Lamb, Ryan Flournoy is a solid wide receiver 3. But then had another 6'2", almost 6'3", 200-plus pound wide receiver who can go get the ball, play physical, play with speed. Yeah, and this offensive line do their thing. Javonte Williams in the backfield. Dak Prescott has to be happy. I want to see more from Camden Brown. I want to see them get the ball to him more and really allow him to really showcase his full wide receiver skill set, whether it's man zone, route running, all of that. I want to, because if not only – can you carve out the role as the punt and kick returner potentially? But do you maybe jump Flournoy as the wide receiver 3? Can you be that type of impactful player where you're not just impacted in special teams, but you're also getting snaps with the ones on offense in the regular season? And we know Dak is, we know because we give Dak his flowers. Everybody else doesn't. But he's one of the most accurate quarterbacks in the league. I'm telling you, watch Dak Prescott's film, you see a guy who throws with absolute precision when he's in rhythm. So having another 6'2" big body receiver that can go up and make plays, yeah, I love that for Dak.
Yeah, 100%. And listen, it just adds to the depth of this wide receiver core, right? We know injuries are a part of the game. And listen, it's not just, when we speak injuries, not just talking, torn Achilles and torn ACLs, not the worst of the worst, right? But in a season where the difference between 2 and 3 games comes down to snaps and just so many detailed things that just one wide receiver with a hamstring issue, right? Or can't make 2 games, that can swing your season. That's the difference between finish first in the NFC East or potentially wild card game and you have to go on a road, right? Like if there's a huge difference in that, in those swings. So having the depth becomes extremely important. DP, I'm gonna go with this. It's a couple names. I'm gonna write off a few names that I'm just going to be paying close attention to because we talked about their potential impact on these teams. And it's wide receivers we've discussed on, I believe that was Monday's show. And it's simply first wide receiver taking Cornell Tate. I'm going to be watching for that again. I'm going to be watching for Malachi Fields again with the New York Giants. And I'm also going to be watching Reggie Virgil once again for the Arizona Cardinals. And are the Arizona Cardinals building a young nucleus to where you have Marvin Harrison Jr., your guy, I'm blanking on his name right now, the wide receiver.
Michael Wilson.
Then you get a Reggie Virgil. That's a good 1-2-3 punch. Then you still have Jeremiah Love, Carson Beck, right? Like now you're starting to build out something. So I'm going to be watching. Yeah, Trey McBride at tight end. So I'm watching Reggie Virgil. And like I said, Malachi Fields with the New York Giants because I'm not jumping off of that bandwagon. Not till it crash and it's over with, right? I'm going to stay on there. And then if I'm right, I'm going to say, I told y'all so. And if I'm wrong, I'll probably act like it never happened, to be completely honest, right? So that's
I never said any of that. I never said any of it. I like those call outs, Keith. I'm gonna jump to two players. One with Jonah Coleman, running back for the Denver Broncos.
Oh, that's a sneaky one. Yeah.
This is one he played. He had 5 snaps on offense, 4 carries, 24 yards last week against the Atlanta Falcons. I want to see more snaps from him because this is a guy that runs with patience and vision and really good footwork, but he's also a bowling ball. Like he is a strong runner with great contact balance.
I can guarantee you Sean Payton drafted him and then said, that guy reminds me of Pierre Thomas. I guarantee you that's what he said.
And the thing is, man, like, because J.K. Dobbins is the guy that they leaned heavily on him last year. They had R.J. Harvey, but we know J.K. his body just doesn't allow him to hold up for a full 17. When he's healthy, he is making plays on offense, but he just doesn't stay healthy, unfortunately. So I understood the decision. I think they got him in like 3rd or 4th round. And the only reason why I had him as like a 4th, 5th round pick, just because he didn't run the 40. And I was like, that was the main thing for me. I was like, I need to get a time for you, brother. Like him and Denzel Boston was like, absolutely not. We'll see y'all. We'll see y'all after the draft. We're not doing this stuff, man. But I'm looking forward to seeing him. Number one, Keith. But also another guy, our guy, Derek Moore. He missed a decent amount of camp with a groin injury. He returned about 5 or 6 days ago, if I'm not mistaken. And Keith, let me tell you something. I was reading some, I think it was like a couple days ago, like 2 days ago, I was reading, I think it was like the 15th day of camp, and he had his breakout performance in camp. And he was working in, I think, with the ones on 3rd downs as like a DPR because coming off of that groin. And they said he's been they're moving him around the defensive front. Derek Moore could be that. He could be exactly what we wanted him to be. That X factor to give this defense somebody opposite of Aiden Hutchinson that can get after the quarterback. So you talk about going up against the Caleb Williams and the Bears, going against Kyler Murray and the Vikings, and Jordan Love and the Green Bay Packers in your division. If this offense is able to rebound after losing Ben Johnson, they were good, but it wasn't the way it looked with Ben Johnson and everything. Jared Goff didn't look the same, you know what I mean, after losing Ben Johnson. They can get back or get to a semblance of that and play a dominant brand of football offensively, and you're putting teams like those Peyton Manning ran teams where you got, hey, we're scoring so many points, so we're scoring all the points. You're trying to match us, which means you're throwing the ball a lot, which means Dwight Freeney and Robert Mathis gets to pin their ears back a lot. And you want that for Aiden Hutchinson and then working in a Derek Moore. I'm looking forward to see if he gets – I hope he gets to play in preseason this week because, looks like he's good to go. He's been active in practice, but I want to see them just let the dog off the leash. Just let him run around the yard a little bit. I don't, you got to let him play too long. Just give me some snaps. I want to see Big Dog go out there and let him eat, man, because that first step quickness, that speed, everything we loved about him, he could be a game changer for them on 3rd down in key moments this actual regular season. Because I don't think he starts, but I think you work him in and get him ready for a potential postseason run.
I like that, DP. And guess what? You know what else I like, DP? The fact that we have preseason football this weekend and we have so many players to pay attention to. And y'all make sure y'all tune into Monday's show because we're obviously going to be recapping all of the preseason games, takeaways, the highlights, who made the plays, who didn't make the plays, right? And what we may think is going to happen with some of these guys that went into the back end of the draft. Will they be cut? Will they stay? We're going to discuss all of those different things coming on. But DP, that wraps up another episode, man, of the Locked On NFL Draft podcast. I want to end this podcast off by saying shout out to our everydayers. Thank you for tapping in with us each and every single day. I am Keith Sanchez. You can find me on X at The Talent Code. That right there is my guy, my co-host, Mr. Damian Parson. You can find him on X at DP_NFL. And like we like to say, man, y'all can talk to us because we like to talk back.
Go subscribe and follow for free on YouTube, wherever you listen to podcasts, to get the latest episode as soon as it is available. As Keith said, we're going to break down week 2 preseason rookie reaction on Monday, but guys, Tuesday, Wednesday, next week is week 0 college football. So while we got preseason in the NFL, we finally get college football back, and we got to drop our preseason rankings, top quarterbacks. We got to give you guys that information. So come and join the conversation again tomorrow on the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.